Thomas slouched in his ergonomic chair, eyes glazed over from staring at lines of code for hours. The clock on his computer blinked 11:47 p.m., another late night at the office. He sighed, running a hand through his disheveled brown hair. "Screw it," he muttered, closing his laptop. "I need a break." As he packed up his things, a notification pinged on his phone. Another ad for that new dating app, Star Crush. He'd been seeing them everywhere lately. "Find your perfect match across the galaxy," the tagline proclaimed. He snorted. Yeah, right. As if any alien would want to date a boring Earth programmer. But as he rode the subway home, curiosity got the better of him. What the hell, he thought, downloading the app. It's not like my love life could get any worse. Setting up his profile quickly, he added a few recent photos and a self-deprecating bio. Idly swiping through profiles, he marveled at the diversity of alien species. Then he saw her. Her skin was pale lavender with iridescent markings, and almond-shaped eyes glowed with an inner light. Long, silky hair shimmered with colors that shouldn't exist. Thomas's finger hovered over the like button. No way she'd match with me, he thought, but what did he have to lose? He tapped the screen. Instantly, a notification popped up. "It's a match!" Thomas nearly dropped his phone in shock. He fumbled to open the chat window, heart racing. "Hi there," he typed. "I'm Thomas. It's nice to meet you." The reply came almost instantly. "Hello, Thomas of Earth. I am Zara. Your species intrigues me. Perhaps we could meet to discuss your planet's customs?" Thomas blinked, rereading the message. Was this really happening? "I'd love to," he replied. "When and where?" The next evening, Thomas approached the trendy rooftop bar in Manhattan, heart pounding. He spotted Zara immediately. She was even more stunning in person, her skin glowing softly under the dim lights. "Zara?" he asked hesitantly. She turned, her smile dazzling. "Thomas, how wonderful to meet you in the flesh." Her voice had an otherworldly quality, like wind chimes in a summer breeze. Thomas felt his knees go weak. "Can I get you a drink?" he offered, gesturing to the bar. Zara's eyes sparkled with amusement. "Actually, I brought something special for us to try. A delicacy from my home world." She produced a small vial filled with shimmering blue liquid. Thomas eyed it warily. "It's perfectly safe for humans," Zara assured him. "It's said to open one's mind to new experiences." Thomas hesitated. This seemed risky, but Zara's encouraging smile melted his reservations. "What the hell?" he said, taking the vial. "When in Rome, right?" He downed the contents in one gulp. It tasted like liquid starlight fizzing on his tongue. "So, tell me about your planet," he began, but Zara leaned forward, her eyes glowing with intensity. "Oh, Thomas," she murmured, "why don't I show you instead?" The world began to spin, colors blurring and stretching. Thomas felt himself falling into darkness. When he awoke, he found himself on a cold metal floor, the harsh light stabbing at his eyes. He groaned, pushing himself up, only to realize he was in some kind of holding cell. "Hello?" he called out, panic rising. "Is anyone there? What's going on?" A tall, bluish alien appeared on the other side of the force field. "Ah, the Earth specimen is awake," it said in a buzzing voice. "Good. The auction begins soon." Thomas stumbled as he was led down the gleaming ramp of the alien spacecraft, the harsh sunlight of emeralds stabbing at his eyes. Two suns blazed in a lavender sky, casting strange double shadows across a landscape that shimmered and shifted. "Come along, Cork," Marinette said, tugging at the leash attached to his collar. "The princess is eager to meet you." Thomas bristled at the name and the indignity of the leash, but he knew better than to resist. He'd bide his time, play along, and look for an opportunity to escape, or at least communicate that he was sentient. As they approached a towering crystalline structure that must have been the palace, Thomas marveled at the alien architecture. Spires of translucent green material twisted impossibly upward, defying gravity and logic. Gia noticed his wide-eyed stare and chuckled. I think our new pet likes his surroundings. See how his eyes sparkle, almost as if he understands what he's seeing. Don't be ridiculous, Marinette scoffed. It's a primitive creature, probably just sees shiny things and gets excited. They entered a vast chamber, its ceiling lost in shadows high above. At the far end, seated on an ornate throne, was the most breathtaking woman Thomas had ever seen. Princess Aurora was tall and lithe, her skin a pale mint green that seemed to glow from within. Iridescent patterns swirled across her bare arms and face, shifting and changing as she moved. Her large, luminous eyes were filled with an otherworldly intelligence that made Thomas's breath catch in his throat. Your Highness, Marinette announced, bowing low, we present your birthday gift, an exotic creature from a distant world called Earth. Aurora rose gracefully, her flowing gown shimmering like liquid starlight. She approached Thomas, studying him with undisguised curiosity. How fascinating, she murmured, reaching out to touch his face. Her fingers were cool and impossibly soft. What do you call it? We've named him Cork, Your Highness, Gia said. He seems to respond well to it. Thomas wanted to scream that his name was Thomas, that he was a person, not a pet, but the words wouldn't come. Whatever they'd done to him at the auction was still blocking his ability to speak. Aurora circled him slowly, taking in every detail. And you say he's intelligent for a lower life form, I mean. Oh, yes, Marinette said eagerly. He can be trained to perform simple tasks. Watch this. She held up a small device. Cork, sit. Before Thomas could decide whether to comply or resist, a jolt of pain lanced through his body. He found himself sitting on the floor, muscles twitching. Aurora frowned. I'm not sure I approve of such methods. He seems distressed. It's perfectly harmless, Your Highness, Gia assured her. Just a little positive reinforcement. Thomas glared at them, wishing he could tell them exactly where they could shove their positive reinforcement. Well, Aurora said, her expression softening as she gazed at Thomas. He is rather adorable, isn't he? Those eyes, they're so expressive, almost as if he understands everything we're saying. If you only knew, Thomas thought. Thomas's heart raced as he stood before the grand doors of the Emeraldan High Court. Aurora squeezed his hand reassuringly, her touch sending a familiar tingle through his body. Ready? She whispered. He nodded, swallowing hard. As I'll ever be. The doors swung open, revealing a vast chamber filled with the planet's elite. Emeraldan nobles in shimmering robes turned to stare as Thomas and Aurora entered. Whispers rippled through the crowd. Is that the princess's pet? Why isn't it on a leash? What in the galaxy is going on? At the far end of the chamber, the Emeraldan Council sat on elevated thrones, their stern faces showing a mixture of confusion and disapproval. Lady Vex stood before them, a smug smile playing on her lips. Your Majesties, honored counselors, she announced, I've called this emergency session to expose a grave deception that threatens our very way of life. She pointed dramatically at Thomas. This creature, this supposed pet from Earth, is no mere animal. It can speak, and worse, it has bewitched our beloved princess. Gasps and murmurs filled the room. Aurora stepped forward, her chin held high. Counselors, noble Emeraldans, what Lady Vex says is partially true. Thomas can indeed speak, but he has not bewitched me. He has opened my eyes to a truth we've been blind to for far too long. She gestured for Thomas to join her. He took a deep breath and addressed the stunned crowd in flawless Emeraldan. People of Emeralda, I am Thomas Anderson of Earth. I came to your world not as a willing pet, but as a sentient being wrongfully enslaved. My planet may be less advanced than yours technologically, but we are your equals in intelligence and spirit." The chamber erupted in chaos. Nobles shouted accusations of trickery and sorcery. The counselors conferred urgently among themselves. Finally, the head counselor raised a hand for silence. "This is unprecedented," he declared. "We must deliberate on this matter." Aurora turned to Thomas, her eyes filled with determination. "We'll convince them," she whispered. "Together, we can change everything." Thomas nodded, feeling a surge of hope. Whatever challenges lay ahead, at least he and Aurora would face them together. Subscribe to watch more amazing sci-fi stories.